Hello, and welcome to Talk.Therapy.Heal. We are a group of licensed counselors, social workers, professional counselors that discuss life's challenges and give you tips and strategies on how to overcome. Join us at Talk.Therapy.Heal.
Hi, I'm Kenny King.
Hello, I'm Rachel Logan.
Hey, Larisha Perlow.
And I'm Nikki Willis.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chantrell King, and we are here for another episode. Listen, these episodes have been fire, okay? Or fire, however you want to say it. And so what we're going to be speaking about on tonight's show is take the cape off, Superwoman energy. Now, for you all who have been following and tracking, you know we spoke about the men, so it's only fair to speak about the women.
Yes.
So let's get into it.
Ooh, Superwoman.
Superwoman energy.
That song, y'all, that.
Superwoman. Ooh, 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 ooh. Right. Listen, can feel it all up in your shonda. Come on now, be like, box with it. I'm not just sweeter to me. Gotta be sweeter.
Thank you for that song, Sherman. And if you're listening, no,
Right.
Yes, no, what
Wow.
we'll be saying, tag them.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
there
Don't
you are.
tag Cheryl in that. Let her
Yeah.
know we was talking about her. Okay.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yes.
But Superwoman energy.
What does that mean?
Take the cape off.
What does that mean?
Oh, you juggling everything: career, family, household duties, social obligations, personal interests, all while trying to maintain a flawless exterior.
Wow. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
In one day.
And when that.
I mean, for real, that's one day. One day.
For us.
Yes, one day.
Mm.
That's the thing with juggling, though, and we always want to make sure we're hitting the mental, it's detrimental. It's like it hurts us.
Mm-hmm.
The mental capacity, self-identity, like how we're showing up, we're not authentic. That is not authentic to who we really are, because I feel like I'm seeing in my mind, because I'm a visual person, this person, the juggler, just with all of these different things. And the moment you take your eye off on one, all comes crashing down.
You know, it makes me think about, and I used to hear it a lot at women's conferences in church. Matter of fact, I think that was one of the conferences, take off your mask, but the mask that we put on. And then it was a like you said, a picture of a lady, and she had all these masks, but then when you see her face, she was just tired, beaten down, you know, struggling. You could just tell in her face, but all the other masks around her showed all the roles that she plays. Wow.
One thing I want to point out, because I don't know, we never know what direction this conversation gonna go in, y'all, because we just allow the Holy Spirit to lead. But I'm thinking of ways in how this Superwoman energy manifests: overcommitment, perfectionism, difficulty asking for help, neglecting personal needs, and the biggest one, I feel guilty. I feel guilty.
Feel guilty for asking for help from others.
Asking for help, or feel guilty when I feel like I can't provide at the level or perform at the level.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk personally, right? Like especially when my kids were younger, I used to feel guilty that I couldn't do everything because the way I was raised, it was like what you do, like that's you supposed to. It's like expected for us to do it all, and so when I couldn't do it all, I felt guilty.
But where did you learn that?
From my mom, from my family, from the expectations, you know, of women that were around me, that I'm supposed to do it all. And he's supposed to work and come home and eat. Right? But I'm supposed to work, take care of the kids, do everything that's supposed to be done, and still be available for him. And when I wasn't doing all of those things, I used to feel guilty, like I am failing. And that was that's a really hard place to feel like you're doing everything, but feeling like you're still failing.
Exactly. That mental drain.
Right. I just shared something similar to this, but just listen, you all, to what I'm going to say, kind of running down somewhat of a typical day for not all women, but let's just say that this is a woman. It's funny how I'm thinking about counseling and how we use these in session, but this is a woman who's married, say have 3 children. He know where I'm going because we just had this married, 3 children, 3 little children, step children. So think about a typical day. So she gets up. She probably throws a load of laundry in for the day. She gets the kids up, get them all ready, get them fed. So she's cooking for the family, get them fed. And we're not coming at the men, just listen, but get them fed, get their clothes ready, get their bags set for the day. Some have to be dropped off at daycare. Some have to be dropped off at school, all the while and getting herself ready because she has to go to work. So then she goes, she makes sure her husband's good. She makes sure kids is good. This is just before 7 o'clock. Okay. And then she continues on with her day. Okay, honey, have a good day. She sees him off, drops off the kids at daycare, make the rounds and drop them off at their place. And then she has to be smiling and cheery for work. Work 8 hours during the day. God forbid the school call you for anything, saying that the kids need anything. So we'll just leave that alone. She go through the whole day. She may be able to get 30 minutes to an hour, depending on her lunch break, just to woosah, but maybe not, because she's checking in with everyone else, only to get off, do the same thing. She comes home. Now I'm going to line up with what you were saying. She comes home. She has the kids. She try to get them sit down in a quiet place. She's helping with homework, whatever needs to be done. You guys, please just stay here in the living room on the rug. I'll help. She's still in her work clothes. She's cooking because she's expected to have a hot meal. You know, her husband comes home, no bad, because every husband's not like this. Mine isn't. But her husband comes home. He sits down on the couch, feeds the family. We sit down, hopefully at the table. There's not a lot going on these days. And then it's like, okay, now I got to prepare the kids for bed. Husband maybe still sitting on the couch. She gives them a bath. She puts them in their pajamas. Make sure they brush their teeth. Get them in the bed. Hubby say, I'm going to go take a shower. He gets in the bed. She's cleaning up, prepping and preparing for tomorrow for the kids. Make sure they have all their folders and everything so the school won't be calling. And then she say, okay, now that I got the kids in the bed, I can go take a shower. I can start trying to unwind just for a minute. But soon as she walks in the room, the husband's ready for the horizontal tango.
Girl, I'm tired.
Me too. I was tired at 7 o'clock.
I'm tired.
So
about that.
a typical day for a woman.
Running through all of that in my mind, and there's still a whole lot of things that didn't get even said in there, because even when you're at work, you're making doctor's appointments.
Yes.
You're setting up this.
Right.
You're doing all these things. Oh, we didn't even mention grocery shopping.
Oh, yeah. That.
Yes. So she's grocery shopping, and then just even the mental clarity that you have to say, what are we even eating?
Right.
So what is the meal?
They say, I saw a statistic, like that's the hardest time for parents and especially moms, is like that 5 to 6 o'clock, because you're figuring out what is for dinner.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the most stressful time.
Yes. Isn't that crazy? What's for dinner?
Because you're making another decision.
Yeah.
You're making decisions all day, but then you have to make another decision.
So it's a lot of decisions. And then again, like we were saying with the men, a lot rests on your shoulders. So it was a point that you had said, and I remember we were kind of speaking as we was preparing about the generational things. And much to your point with the transparency, it literally, I think, hit me December 2023. I'm 46, 45, then 46. No, this year. It was January. And I had a conversation with my husband. Now, mind you, Kenya never required all these things of me, but I didn't want to feel like a failure because in the back of my mind, this was weird. And when Nikki asked, where does this come from? I had to sit up and think on it. What is the root of this? In the back of my mind, I was like, he's going to leave me if I'm not good enough. And we're not even going to talk about, me and Kenya joke about this all the time, especially when you're in the southern states, Midwest southern states. When you go to a woman's house and the house is nasty, who's it for?
The woman.
Because it's You nasty. Oh, I went over so-and-so's house. I went over Larisha's house. Her house is not nasty. But I went over Larisha's house. Her house is so nasty. Oh my God, I went to use the bathroom. It is never the man. It is always the woman. And then it's that in the back of your mind, because I have me a country brother. He grew up in the country. All the women in his family can cook, and they cook from scratch. So then it's like unrealistic expectations that Nikki said in the last session. So as you all are listening, ladies, husbands, whomever, family, take note of this. Do you do this? I had to go to my husband, and I said, baby, but I felt like a failure saying it, but it was actually a sense of relief. I said, baby, I can't do all this by myself. I can't make the decisions. I can't. And he's just looking at me. And I'm looking like, because he's looking like, I never required you to do all of it by yourself. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about Superwoman complex and feeling like we need to save the day, because let's look at another reality. I hear women, wives say this all the time. When the children need something, who do they go to? Mom. They didn't walk right. Our children will come and say, Daddy is right on the couch. Well, do you know who it? Well, when it came to this and that, and I'm like, that's your daddy. Mm-hmm. So they come to mama, but then they'll double back to daddy. Mm-hmm. When they know that's a daddy thing. Yeah. So why are you coming to mama?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for everything that everybody said so far, I've just kind of got this in my notes. There are a lot of women that carry a lot of things on their back because the husband is not doing his part.
Speak on it.
He feels as though it's that old time where I'm just going to go make the money and all the responsibility of the house falls up on you. Mm-hmm. Car breakdown, let me know. If the yard needs to get mowed, let me know. But everything else is literally on you. But then there's also a part that I think we miss, especially when it comes to work. Women are still in a society where they're being underpaid. They're not being paid the same as most men. Mm-hmm. And so you have to work twice as hard just to be even considered to be on the same playing field as the men. And then the third thing, and Shannon and I had the conversation about this. After we had that conversation, I said, I never required you to do all that. Mm-hmm. And she said, yeah, but this, and that. Why is everybody coming to me? Why is this? Why is that? I said, because you allow it.
Right. So you ain't gonna like what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
Because you allow it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But where do those boundaries come in, even within your family? Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times when people hear boundaries, they're always talking about people at work and organization. No, you got to have some boundaries with individuals in your family as well, because if you allow that, that's almost like saying it's okay.
Yeah.
And it will run you in the ground. And then the last thing I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this with a grain of salt, Jesus.
You amongst a table of women.
I know.
No, just like.
I know. There are a lot of women that have that cape on because that's exactly what they asked for. When the man was trying to say, hey, let me, no. I don't need you for this, that, and other. I just need you to do this, that, and other. You go take care of the grass. I got all this. And then when everything falls down around, it's like, well, why won't you help me? I try, but okay, what do you want me to do now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So in essence, that's an unhealthy sense of responsibility that we're carrying. An unhealthy sense of
that has been given to us over generations. Mm-hmm. It has been passed down. I just go back and think of the roles, gender roles, right, in relationships or in how things were set up even as we were growing up, from way back when grandpa was in the house, when fathers were still in the house, their role was to provide. And we talked about that with the whole Superman energy as well. Their roles were to provide, and the women's role was to take care of everything else. And we talked about this off camera, but going back to that slavery, that's what we were conditioned to do. We took care of the house. We took care of the kids, even when they weren't ours.
We took care of everybody.
We took care of everybody. Yes. Even when they weren't ours, we took care of everybody. We that nurturing was ingrained in us. So we began to think that's what we're supposed to do. So it was taught generation. When the kids, if you think about the toys, even in how society kind of comes into this, the toys we buy our kids, we buy the boys, the things that They work. They work with their hands. They're doing certain things. The girls, oh, here's the baby doll, the kitchen sets, and all of the things. Let me teach you how to cook. Yeah, the shopping cart. Let me teach you. And I'm guilty of doing that with my daughter. You know, when she was easy bake oven. So I'm gonna teach you how to cook. I'm gonna teach you how to clean up. I'm gonna teach you how to take care of the house. I'm gonna teach you how to take care of the baby. And the boy, he got none of that.
Nothing. Just take the
cut the grass. Yeah, take the trash out and cut the grass.
Yeah. So the things with his hands. He was taught to work with his hands because we bought the kids. I know for me, my son was into cars since his dad's a big car for that. Oh my God. I feel like my husband had our son, but that's the only thing I do. I feel like I tell him that all the time because he is him reincarnated, like he is him all over again. But growing up, we bought him cars and trucks and things because he liked to take things apart and put them back together, which is exactly what his dad does. So we taught him to work with his hand. But I'm like, as I was seeing our children grow up, I was like, wait a minute, there needs to be some balance in that.
Balance.
So our daughter started going to the mechanic shop. She gonna go work with dad. She know how to do all of the things. She gonna learn to work with her hands as well, and not think that she has to do all the household stuff because that's what mama was doing. I was doing all of that because that's what I saw. And then we get this whole thing. Can't nobody do it like I do it. So I ain't gonna ask for help.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna ask for help because nobody can clean up my house the way that I clean up my house. Nobody can cook like I clean or cook. And I said that, but you know what? When the pandemic happened, and all of these things started coming on, there was a shift. I was like, you know what, Nikki, you don't have to clean up. You can hire somebody to do it. There is somebody out there who loves to clean up. Not that I don't. Cleaning for me can be therapeutic, but when it becomes a chore, I don't want to do it no more. It's a chore. I don't want to do it anymore. So I'm like, you don't have to. Who told you you had to keep cleaning up your house? Am I trying to meet the expectations of others or am I trying to make sure that I'm satisfied? And after that, I stopped worrying about what people, you going to have somebody clean your house? Girl, I could never do that. Well, that's you. That's you. I'm going to pay for this service because that's going to free me to take care of me and take some of that stuff that I'm juggling out of my hands.
So to take off the cape is to know what you need.
Pause. Come on, Rachel.
To take off the cape, women, you have to know what you need, not what your sister need, not what your mother says, not what your grandmother told you to do in your own household. You have to know what you need. And if you need a maid, a cook, someone to come and drop your kids, like, it's okay. You got to know what you need to take off the cape.
So what I'm hearing is prioritizing self-care and personal well-being without succumbing to societal pressures. Release the pressures. Release the pressure.
Now I'm going to speak on something that's going to be very unpopular, but I don't think I'm a preface, you do what you do. Okay? You do what you do is what but I think now hearing you all speak is some aspects to it that you were talking about, say, for instance, cleaning. Now, I know for me, I have trust issues. I'm going to admit that. You know what I'm saying? Because you got one time to steal from me, and it's going to be a problem. But what my popular opinion is this. Think about this. And we all may have our own views, so it'll be amazing to bring it to the table if we do, so people can see how people have healthy conversation from different perspectives. Division, didn't we just have an episode on that? But whatever. So as we speak about the generational things that has passed down through your bloodline, regardless of what race, ethnic background you come from, think about, because me and someone was just having this conversation about how young ladies, young girls are always taught to squirrel away money.
Yeah, girls on this topic.
Now let's get up into this. It's going to be unpopular. It's going to be unpopular. But think about it like this. So, and I'm not trying to preach or anything like that, but I've really been processing on this. Now,
can I pause you real quick?
Yes.
Can you explain to people what squirrel away money?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So basically, in certain cultures, young ladies or little girls from a young age are taught that when you get married, you secretly put money aside. You don't let that man know you got it, or you make sure you have your separate bank account and whatever. He don't need to know what you got the money for. So when we had a business back in the day and we had a sister to sister, we would come together as women, older, younger, different colors. And it was older women in the room. And I said, if you don't mind us asking, because you all are the eldest women, they were like in their 60s, 70s. Why was this taught and why is it still going on today? And so they broke it down. It was amazing. But what they said was it was relevant for that time for a lot of women because just what we were speaking about, the man went out and worked. He did. The jobs, a lot of women wasn't in those jobs. If anything, they were in service type jobs. You could watch my kids, you could clean the house, you could do different, but they wasn't as CEOs and bosses as they are today. And so then women couldn't, a lot couldn't afford school and different things. So they said, but now today, you have women that are CEOs. You have women that are business owners. You have women. And so we then start talking about how sometimes that could be toxic. Because I'll use case in point with Kenya and I, God forbid. But if I'm squirreling away money, to me, what that's saying is my marriage might not work. That's one thing that it could speak. My marriage might not work. So I'm going to keep it in the back of my mind. And my pot is up to $14,000 now. What is $14,000 going to do in 2024? Because people's rent for a studio is upwards to $2,500 a month. That's just the rent. So it's that. But then it's also planting the seed of, I can't really trust him. So I got to continue to do everything by myself, just in case he decide to flake on me and leave this marriage. Now, I know some of y'all right now on social media up in uproar, but that's why I say people view different. For us, we have 2 daughters. Do we teach that? No. What we teach is we're going to make sure you have education, skill, and all that. So God forbid you get married. But number one, you always come back to mom and daddy house. All our children, not just our girls. Come back, reset, and then relaunch. That's what we'll do. But think about just those 2 things. And it's feeling like, nope, I got to keep the cape on. I can't take it off and be vulnerable with my husband because he might leave. But how far is $14,000 going to get you?
Not very far in 2024.
Not at all.
Not at all.
I was taught that too. I'll be honest. I was taught to to have it just in case. And me and my husband talked about it. And I remember when I started putting money to the side, I said, no, I'm gonna let him know. Like, yeah, I'm doing this, but I'm actually doing this for us. Just as a safety precaution for us. Because I don't expect for us to lose. I don't expect for us to get a divorce. So I was upfront, and I said, hey, I'm putting this money to the side. What is that secretly creates division.
It does. I thought about that because when me and my husband we got married, and I remember the older women having a conversation at the beauty salon, talking, and she said, if you don't do nothing else, you always make sure you have your money to the side. She said, your money is your money and his money is your
y'all's money. Yes. Yeah.
So there's a balance to it. Right. Yeah. So there has to be a balance to it. But when I sat and I thought about it, and especially as I became more mature in my walk with God, I was like, I don't want a marriage like that. I don't want for my money to be my money, his money to be his money, or my money too, or I'm hiding money from him or putting it away, because that's dishonest. It's not honest. And I'm like, if I want to have a strong marriage, then we're going to have to be open. So when we started out, we didn't have separate bank accounts. And I know a lot of people do that, and some people do it because they have to. But this is where communication comes into play too, where you sit down and you have a talk about how monies are supposed to be used, or what they will be used for in the marriage or in the family. So when we did that, I was like, there will be no, you got an account, I got an account. No.
You pay half those bills, I pay half of those.
No, your check goes in, my check goes in, your check goes in. Whatever gets paid, it gets paid from the money. Whatever's left over, then we decide what we're going to do with it. Right. Now, I do have, I wouldn't have a separate account, but he knows I do like savings plans. So I'll do like the money challenges to save up money, but it's for us.
Right.
It's for us to do those big projects that we want to do that maybe if we kept it in the account, we're going to use it for something else. So I'm going to pull it out and put it over here. But he knows about it.
Right.
He knows exactly where it is.
Because how would you feel if you found out that your mate was saving money on the side?
Man, I think that's a fair.
Yeah.
That is a fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely betrayed.
Mhm.
Definitely betrayed.
Yes.
But then it's this, why I think about it, and that's what I said I wasn't going to the two walking as one. So to me, this is just my mindset for the kings. It sets seeds of doubt, division that could potentially grow. I couldn't even imagine how he would feel, especially when you have both of you busting your behind, but you got you a man that's to the grind. We spoke about that off camera, which Rachel got that unedited footage. But so hopefully we'll put that out there. But if he busted his behind and found out, now I'm a saver. Baby, I love to save. You heard me? And travel. But if he found out $100,000, I got saved up and he ain't know nothing about it, because that's what, okay, sorry, y'all, side note real quick. That was on Steve Harvey on the little, what's the letter? The strawberry letter? I feel so bad for that man. I mean, he had health issues. He was Ubering and everything. And she had this money aside. And when he finally looked at the finances, because he was trusting her, then that's when he found out that it was like $80,000. So when he asked her, so I'm like, I know I kind of went off topic with this, but it was just something that made me think about the seed of division, and me feeling as a woman, you might leave me, so I got to make sure I'm doing everything. I got to be in the know of everything. We're not working together on anything. So then I keep my cape on to protect myself. But from what? If he's a good man and he's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
He's not your enemy.
Say that one more time for the people in the front.
Not your enemy.
Come on.
You know, I'm hearing
Wow.
that, and I'm learning a lot sitting here being the only man at the table. But I have a question I want to ask you guys. What roles can you drop so you don't have to feel like you're Superwoman?
That's a pause.
Yeah.
Come on, Paul.
Write
it down.
Ask the question one more time.
What roles can you drop so that you don't feel like you're a Superwoman? And this is why I say that. It's going to be a lot of different areas. The wife, a woman that's expected to be in the home and do all those things that we just talked about earlier. Can you make a decision that some of those things really don't need to be done? Do you have to be the one that drops the child off? Do you have to be the one that's the president of your local sorority? Sometimes we take on things thinking that we're doing something for our benefit, and it's really more detrimental to us instead of balancing things out. Other things we can do is, and I'm going to be like Shannon, probably go cause a big stir on social media, but this is just me. I can't stand that phrase and Shannon, that strong Black woman. What does that really say? So when you say that you're a Superwoman, you don't want to be that. Every time you use that strong Black woman phrase, that's exactly what you're saying. I can take it. I can make it through it. It doesn't matter about this. I got to be the one that prevails. You're inviting that right back on yourself. And then the last two things is this one, and Shan knows this. We have this conversation all the time. I don't need a man. So when you don't need a man, there's no balance there. So you've got to do everything on your own. And then the last thing is, I can do this on my own. I don't need you.
Oh, that's the first thing. You know what? I'm just reminded of whenever, because I was raised by a strong Black woman. And that was one of the things that I was taught. Like, I think I shared with you, Rachel, like I was sharing with, when I went to the prom, my mom made sure everything was mine. Even though I had a prom date. The car was mine. I had my own money. I paid for all my own things. The only thing he bought was my croissant. Right, I don't need that. Which is so funny. I mean, it's funny now that I'm thinking about it, but I'm like, wow, that's what she knew to teach me, that strong Black woman thing. And then when I got married, we struggled earlier on in our marriage because I was young, he was young, but I had that I'm a strong Black woman mentality, and I don't need you. You know, my mama taught me how to do this by myself. But I didn't have these kids by myself. So why do I need to do this by myself?
Precisely.
Kind of thing. Like, why do I need to put myself in a position that I take it all on? And so I said all that to say this, because I remember earlier on, he said, we're taking divorce off the table, because every time in my mind, you don't do what I think you should do or how it should be done,
yeah,
I'm out. I don't need you. I don't, because that's what I was taught.
right.
I don't need you. I know how to do it on my own, which is one of the reasons why I went to the military. I had my mom, I was 16 when she signed me up, because that's what I knew I wanted to do. 17, I was gone. I was setting the foundation to take care of me and not need a man to do it for me.
Absolutely.
And it's not that I feel like women, some are not seeking for men to take care of them, but I think they're positioning themselves to take care of themselves. But in doing that, they put on that cape.
Yes.
And they don't see the benefit of having a man.
Absolutely.
Because there's definitely a benefit. I with seeing my husband traveling and things and not being home sometimes, I see the benefit. I see where he added to me. I see where he helped me in a lot of different ways. And now it's like, dang.
Yeah.
Okay, girl. You got to do this all now on your own. So did you really think you could do it on your own? Did you really? I mean, was those true statements? I don't need you kind of statement. You know, because now I am in a certain aspect of it all, and I don't like it.
Of course. And I like the way you broke that down, because when I said that, it's not that a woman can't look at herself and say, I'm strong and I can be independent. That's fine. But when you say that to a point where it's really being detrimental to the relationship, that's where the issue comes in at. And so now I'm going to say this, it's going to hit a little bit on the women, and it's definitely going to tap on the doors of the men as well. The other thing when it comes to an individual being a Superwoman, if you think about Superwoman, she looked a lot like Superman. But I think most women, when they think about Superwoman, they look at Wonder Woman. And so people will say the physique, the beauty, all that stuff is there. And so that's why I think a lot of women carry stuff on their shoulders as well, because I've got to look a certain way all the time.
Right, because why couldn't Wonder Woman be somebody who looked normal? Why she had to have that body? Why she had to have a beautiful
She has some kids.
Right. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. When I said I would be knocking on the doors of the men. See, for a lot of the women, they put on that extra persona where I got to be perfect. I got to get my teeth done. My hair got to look a certain way. I got to go get a BBL. I got to get a boob job. All this stuff. When really you got to sit back and think about the maturity level of your male or your man. And I tell Shan this all the time. Shan used to tell me, baby, I put on a little extra weight. It was because of me. And she'll look at me and say, why? Well, we chose to have kids. Well, you know, if we make up our mind to have a child, understand there's some things that's going to affect your body because you went through that childbearing thing. So who am I to sit there and say you need to do this, that, and else, because I'm a part of that.
That's good.
Oh, can I
can take
go ahead?
Different Facebook.
Yeah, I just wanted to spin the block real quick. Let's go ahead and spin the block, bring it right on back around.
Okay.
Listen. I try. But I wanna go back to, especially since we're all of color sitting at this table, strong Black woman. What I found, especially with being on social media, is and watching, I don't live on social media, but I love relational stuff and how people think, and some of the ignorant stuff they say that's actually harmful. A lot of women of color who are deemed to be Black in the United States of America don't want that. I don't. It was, so you said, you had shared how you were kind of taught, Rachel, about, you know, put some money aside. I think you said you were taught at the beauty shop, or the hair store. And I used to hear, don't depend on you insert that word for nothing. I took that as to heart. That was like the Bible.
Me too.
So that right there made me think I have to continue. And then we're not even going to speak about the mental anguish that it causes. think about, let's go back to children. Let's think about when you have children who are responsible for their siblings. So you're already made as a child to bear a whole bunch of stuff. That part, little girl caves. And then you got to sit in church, like you all were saying. You have to be dainty. You have to keep your knees together, cross your ankles, sit with your back straight. It's all this poison and prompting. And I remember Kenya and I had a conversation on a different forum that a lot of people are raising children, but you're not training them up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when you're telling me don't depend on a bleep for nothing, plus coupled with being a strong Black woman, because that right there, off topic conversation, which I'm gonna bring on camera, what is the root of that? So let's be real, United States of America, and I will be that one. Okay. The root is slavery.
Oh, yeah.
The root cause, if we're going to look at it from a mental health perspective, is slavery. Because guess what? And if we be honest, we mentioned it earlier in the last show, the Black woman was the one that had to take care of everybody's kids, plus her kids, plus work in the field. She probably had her own kids in the back. She used to sneak and teach her kids how to do things at night, how to read, and all these different types of things like that. So where did the phrase "the strong Black woman" come from? Who created that? Like that's a badge of honor for us. And I'll speak for myself. It is not. It has torn me down. It's caused issues in my marriage. I had mental issues. I felt like a failure. I was depressed. I was constantly anxious, thinking that my husband was going to walk away. And only to realize that this man had to kind of fight just to say, no, I want to be there for you. I want to cover you. I want to be, what do you mean? Me submit to you? Oh, we're not even going to go there. How do you want a woman who's a strong Black woman plus wearing the Superwoman cape to submit to you? So then, because I don't understand myself and I don't understand that I don't have to have all this mental anguish. I can go to counseling and have sat with a counselor to say, what is your objective? What are you trying to get at? And I even do that in session.
I know you were talking about all the things that it do, especially mental wise, but we never really talk about how the mental anguish manifests in our health.
Yes.
And we end up with all types of health issues. Our heart is failing. We got IBS in our stomach because high blood pressure, stress, all of these. So all of this stuff of carrying all of that on you to be all of what you think is the strong Black woman, the Superwoman, is causing you health issues. It's tearing your body down. And I mean, it's like we're destroying ourselves from all angles.
Right.
Mentally, physically, emotionally. We're tearing spiritually. We're tearing ourselves down.
Absolutely. Do you know what pesticides were designed to do?
Supposed to kill bugs, but
They kill bugs or they irritate the bugs to the point where they run off. They leave. It's the same thing that phrase "strong Black woman" does to a lot of men. Because when they hear that, if they are that man that we talked about before that maybe has that Superman cape on, he wants to provide, protect, and do all that. The minute they hear that, okay, well, I'm gone because you don't need me.
You don't need me.
And so when that question gets raised, where are all the good men there? You just ran them off with your pesticide.
And that's the same thought. And that's the thing. Men want to be needed.
They want to be needed.
They have to be needed.
But if I don't need you, then guess what? Now, I'm going to tell you guys a story.
Man.
Go ahead, Mr. King.
This is me and Shan all day.
Yes.
I saw her and we had been talking for a while and I said, hey, I want to take you out to eat. And she was like, why? I said, because I want to take you out to eat. Let's just get something to eat. Hungry.
Yeah.
Okay, so we met up at this spot. She shows up. I said, hey, come on in. I got this. No, I said, what do you mean? And she said, I can pay for my own. I said, but I invited you, so I would like to pay. I don't need a man for nothing because the minute you pay something, you go be expecting. I said, I wasn't expecting. I just want to take you out to eat. Okay, I don't want to argue. I said, this girl is cute. I ain't even trying to. Yeah, let me go ahead and do this, right? So I get my food and I go sit down. She's up at the counter, and the next thing she's like, and I'm like, oh, is there something wrong? And she said, I think I left my wallet. I said, okay. I went back over and just sat down. Remember, you didn't eat me for nothing. Now, let's fast forward that a number of months later. I say, hey, I want to pick you up, take you out to eat. She's like, why? I'm like, here we go again. I said, no, really. I said, I'm going to pick you up, take you out to eat. And she said, okay, where we going? I said, I don't know. I got a restaurant. I made some reservations there. She was like, restaurant? And I said, yes, what's wrong? She said, I've never had anybody take me to a restaurant before. And I said, what do you mean? I said, no, I'm not trying to say anything bad. I know you've dated before. She said, yeah, but nobody's ever taken me. I've been to McDonald's, I've been to Burger King, but I've never been to a restaurant. So I said, oh boy, think fast on your feet. Take it to the right one. So I took her to a restaurant where all the menus were in a different language that I knew that she didn't know how to read it. I would have to be able to order it for her. So that way I can show her that I'm trying to do something and show you something that you've never experienced in hopes of getting to the point.
I had to rely on him to eat.
Precise.
That'll preach.
Yeah. And so
I had to rely on him to eat.
that was it. And so what that did is that inadvertently made her have to drop her guard to realize that every man is not the same. Everybody's not out for a certain thing. I'm not doing this just to try to get a reaction or anything else. But what it also did for her is to show her my true self, because I want her to be vulnerable with me, because if you can be vulnerable and still be strong and still hold things on your shoulders when you have to, now I realize that we can build something together. I don't have to be looking over my shoulder every 5-10 minutes when I don't think I can trust you because you won't trust me.
I like what you said there. You said she can be vulnerable with you and strong at the same time.
At the same time.
I know we said that to the men, and I want the women to know that too, that you can still be strong. You can maintain your strength. It's just how we utilize it in relating to others. Celebrate your strengths, celebrate your accomplishments, but also embrace your flaws and your imperfections. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect, because no one is requiring that from you. You are setting that standard for yourself, and when you don't meet it, you feel like a failure.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Let me ask Sister Perlu, what have you seen in relations to this, or if any, when it comes to working with clients? Or maybe even yourself, because you know how they said in school, at counseling school, God is going to place the individuals in front of you that you need. I didn't understand that until I started seeing clients. So how what have you seen, or have you worked with clients on that?
Well, personal experience, still self-disclosure. I was that how should I say? My husband and I, we just had a conversation like 3-4 days ago. We were talking about emotions and all that other stuff. But I said, well, honey, how do you view me? How do you see me? And he's like, well, he did a little giggle. And he said, well, honey, I see you as a strong, independent Black woman. And I was like,
thank you.
No.
Oh, really?
No. I don't want to be seen as that.
No.
Really?
Yeah. And I said, you know what I mean? I kind of took a breath, and he was like, what? That's good, right? Just kind of like you were just saying. And I said, yeah, it's good. I said, but then, so I'm just being real, y'all. There were some moments on where I was passive aggressive. Right. And so we were talking about emotions and processing things and all of that. And so there were some things that came up, and I said, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it like I always do. I process it myself. I got it. Don't worry about it. Now I'm being sarcastic, you know what I mean, in that moment. But when we talked it out, I said, babe, I'm saying that and I'm being passive aggressive, which I need to be direct, and what I need to say. But because you have that view of me, of that strong, independent, Black woman, you didn't think anything of it. And so we laughed, but it hurt me. You know what I mean? For him to still feel, after, 20 years of marriage, to I guess have the perspective of, I guess I always tell him, let me just say it this way. I need you. I tell him, I need you. he doesn't feel that way sometimes because of his upbringing and how he sees himself as a man. But I say, babe, I need you. But in his mind, he knows I could do this thing by myself. You know, and I guess just to have that conversation. And I really wanted him to understand that, you know what I mean? I don't want to do this thing by myself. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to say it, y'all. But
that's good.
But that's a vulnerable being in a vulnerable
place. I said,
place.
I don't want, and I felt like throughout the years I've told him, hey, baby, you know, I need you. I want you there. I love you. You're there. You know, but maybe there was something I wasn't doing. You know what I mean? In order to give him that sense of comfort, that sense of, you know what I mean? You know, to where he's needed.
Right.
You know, or to help him feel like he's, you know what I mean?
Or sometimes it can be reassuring an individual. Like, you know, with Shan, my message to her is basically this. She always said it, I can do this on my own. Yeah, but you don't have to.
Right.
I think that's what it is.
To realize that you have options.
Right.
When we feel as women with cape on that we don't. It has to always be a.
When you have to, there's nothing wrong because you got to do what you got to do.
Right.
But when an option presents itself to say, wait a minute, I don't have to do this by myself. I've got this person beside me.
Right.
And this is me. My wife, she knows. And I told her, I wish you would go outside and cut the grass. That's just me. I know how she was raised up and the things she likes to do, but I'm like, as long as I'm in the house, and at that time, we got 3 boys in the house, you got 4 options to go through before you consider hiring somebody, before you get out there and
dang, you got to hire somebody. I still can't do it myself.
Right.
And I think that's the basis. There's nothing wrong with being super.
Yeah.
I think the basis of it all is saying you can be super in your own way, but if there is an opportunity that presents itself where you don't have to do something on your own, then you may have to try to take that opportunity.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this.
Go ahead.
Just real quick. So there was a time. I mean, I'm an old soldier, 21 years, 12 days.
The whole 12 days.
I'm soldiering. I'm coming home. I'm cooking. Even maybe preparing a meal or two. And so I would start cleaning. I remember my husband telling me, you choose to do that. And of course, you know, I'm not frustrated. You know what I mean? You don't be telling me I choose. You know, I'm trying to help everybody. But he straight up said, babe, you choose. You're choosing. You know what I mean? To do these things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Smack me all up in my face.
I know.
Okay. No, he didn't hit me.
No.
It's words. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I was just going to say, you know, what you said was so important that you don't want to do it all by yourself. And I think for strong women, you can admit that you don't want to do it all by yourself. And it's okay not to want to do it and to accept or receive the help and support. So just that point, what you said, like, I don't want to be strong all the time. I don't want to, you know, wear the cape every day by myself. Because as we think about this, we just talked about the men, about being Superman. We're talking about the women being Superwoman. Like, we can share the cape. Can you see that? Like, side by side, like, it's I don't have to worry about myself. We can share that cape together. We can win. We can fly together. We can go around the world together.
Come on. Yes.
Just share the cape.
That's when you ask that question, Kenya, what role can be dropped to make us feel like we can take the cape off? And what Larisha was just talking about, what you just said, Rachel, to delegate tasks when possible. Seek support from friends, family, your spouse, whoever, professionals, to avoid that burnout and feeling overwhelmed. Right? We bringing it on ourselves. We don't have to wear the cape. We can share the cape. And I'm going to say this too, for those women who feel like they cannot share the cape with their spouse, I'm never the one who's like for not being with your spouse anymore, but you have to ask yourself, are you equally yoked? Are you even really supposed to be together? Is that really truly your husband?
You know what? I was going to try not to go there from a perspective, but I'm going to just go ahead and say this. And this is going to go for men and women both. Exodus, the 17th chapter. And I'm going to jump down to, oh God, I'm going to go here to the 10th verse. So Joshua fought the Amalekites, and Moses had ordered, and Moses and Aaron and Ur went up to the top of the hill. As long as Moses held his hands up, the Israelites were winning, but whenever he lowered his hands, the Amalekites were winning. At what point, I don't care if you're a man or a woman, are you going to be able to keep your hands up? Can you let some other individuals lift you up so that the job that needs to be done can happen, so that winning occurs not only for you, for your family, your brotherhood, your sisterhood, whatever the case may be? There's nothing wrong with wearing a cape, but we all get tired. But do you have people in your circle that can lift your hands up?
Good.
Yeah. I got some on the other side for that. So for those of you who are listening to us, when you've identified they are talking about me, whether it been the Superman or the Superwoman need to take it, they are talking about me. Listen, when you do the work, I would love to speak to them on the other side, what it looks like on the healthier side. So one of the things Nikki said in a previous show is she did not allow anybody to dictate her time. Whatever's for her, we had spoke about the things we like to do as far as self-care. If you missed it, go to our YouTube channel, check that out. Very important. But when you are walking in a healthier version of you, what I've noticed, and I'll just speak about myself, and I'm sure you all can agree with this, when you've always been made, when people see leadership quality in you, they always want to throw responsibility on you. And when you wear the cape, because I don't want to let anybody down, you lie to yourself and say that you can take on more than you cannot. But let me tell you what happens when people, because people can tell, oh, you walk like a leader, you talk like a leader, they see how people attract to you, but you get to a point in your healthier self where you say, I don't want to supervise anybody anymore.
At all.
And so for me, I start casting this and say, well, we know you're a good trainer and you had it on your resume that you can train. That was not what I agreed to. Oh, well, you're a good leader. No. Because I no longer desire to supervise adult children. And so when you walk in your healthier self and you set healthy boundaries, you come to the realization, just like Nikki was saying, nobody can dictate her time. I'm walking in balance. You said that. Walk in balance for you. Stop allowing people to put things on you. Just because you're good at it don't mean you have to do it.
Yes, it.
So what does that look like? Are you walking in a healthier version of yourself? If not, we are a whole table of therapists. Go find you one, okay? Reach out to us. We can work together and try to give you some referrals in your state, because what you're doing is just what Nikki was saying earlier. And I've seen it so much. Y'all were talking about health-wise, the different things. One of the most things that I remember at one point, this is about 2003, 2004, that we had patients coming in when I was in direct patient care, was acid reflux and ulcers in the stomach. Ulcers in the stomach. And for those who do not know what that is, that means when you carry so much stress in your body that it starts to affect your body, you will, I got an upset stomach. I'm constipated. You thinking all these things that you're going to come in, they're going to do the x-rays, they're going to do the MRIs, and they are going to find out that you have bleeding ulcers in your stomach. On top of that, people are eating unhealthy. So don't put more on yourself, or correction, don't allow people to put more on you than you can bear. God doesn't even put more on us.
Ooh, okay. So, and we got to end it there, y'all. Oh my God, this has been good. I know. I that's the closeout statement. Don't allow anyone to put. No, you're good. You're good. Don't allow anyone to put more on you than you can bear. That's it. That's it.
That's it.
Wow, that's the word.
That's the word. That's the word. That's the word. All right. We thank you all so much for joining us here at Talk Therapy Heal. As you can see, like, a lot of things were processed here at the table. table, a lot of revelation, a lot of things that really kind of hit home, the honesty, the transparency, all of that. This is what we are wanting from you all, to take that time to be honest with yourself, where you are in your life, in your walk, and where you want to be. And understanding that while you may have the cape on, you can share the cape, and then you can also take it off. Make sure you take care of you at the end of the day. Take care of you. And don't forget, now in taking care of you, that you like, you subscribe, and you hit that notification bell so you'll know when we're back. Yes. Thank you again, and we'll see y'all next time here at Talk, Therapy, Heal.
Bye.
Peace out.